Hello, this is Dasha at Maki Bonsai, and today we're going to be talking about tropical bonsai species. Tropical trees are the trees that you can grow indoors in temperate climates. When growing tropical trees at home, there are some points to consider, and that is the natural conditions in which these trees grow. So one of the things to consider is humidity. Tropical countries have really high levels of humidity, and in flat in the UK or in Europe, obviously the humidity levels are a lot lower, so you need to control humidity. For that you can use humidity trays filled with water. Make sure you water your bonsai and the soil is always moist but not waterlogged. Second point to consider is light. Tropical bonsai species usually need plenty of light, so you might need to supplement the light with some grow lights, which you can acquire on the internet. They're not very expensive at the moment. LED grow lights are available anywhere on the internet. You can also grow these trees on south-facing windowsill, but the tree has to be no more than 4 inches away from the window, because the light levels drop exponentially as you move further away from the window. The next point to consider is temperature. Tropical trees grow in very warm conditions, so the temperature needs to be constantly warm, and the temperature drops a little during the night time. Ideal temperatures to grow tropical bonsai trees are 18 to 32 degrees, and the temperature shouldn't drop below 15 degrees ideally. Next point is ventilation or air circulation. Make sure that there is some air movement, as any trees are prone to mold and fungal diseases, so make sure that there is some sort of air circulation. Either get a fan that would move the air around the trees, or make sure that you open the window if grown on the windowsill. Air circulation is very important for the health of the tree. Next thing to check for is pests and diseases. Make sure that you check the underside surface of the trees for any pests. If you see any signs of wrinkled leaves or anything like that, there might be a pest on the tree. For more details on pests and diseases, check the links below in the description. A lot of people forget that in the natural environment the tree gets a lot of nutrients and microelements from decomposing matter from nature, which is not available if you grow your tree in a pot. So don't forget about feeding and fertilizing your tree. Ideally you would use an organic fertilizer, because the potency of organic fertilizers are lower, and it would provide a more steady feed for your tree. The other reason for using organic fertilizers is that it doesn't create salt imbalance. During the winter, it is good to feed your tree with seaweed extract and molasses solution, and during the growing period it's best to add some organic fertilizer or use biogold fertilizer pellets. Another point to consider is dormancy. If you're using supplementary lights, grow lights or LED lights, don't forget to turn them off during the nighttime, or use a timer. The trees should get at least 12 hours of light every day. Lastly, keep your tree clean, weed-free, and enjoy growing your indoor tropical bonsai tree. Now I will introduce you to some of the tropical bonsai species that you can use. Let's start with the easiest species, that is ficuses. This is Ficus microcappa, also known as Ficus retusa, and it's a robust, fast-growing tree that is easy to grow as an indoor tree. It's available also as just an indoor plant, but you can make a bonsai out of it. It's native to most of the Southeast Asia, India, south of China, Taiwan, and anywhere really in Southeast Asia, it needs a lot of humidity to grow, and use humidity trays for that. This is also a ficus, and it's a Ficus virens, also known as lipstick ficus, because of its characteristic pink tinted young leaves. Just like the Ficus microcappa, it also needs a lot of humidity, and its Ficus virens is similar to Ficus microcappa in a lot of ways. It also needs a lot of humidity and a lot of light. It also has slightly bigger leaves than Ficus microcappa, but they will reduce as it ages. This particular one is a young ficus. It's about 20 years old and is grown from seed. So the leaves on this ficus will reduce as it gets older. So now let me introduce you to money trees. This is Portulacara afra, and this is Crassula ovata. And this one is called Dwarf Jade, and this is a regular money tree. These are native species to southern Africa. They grow from Zambia and Namibia all the way to South Africa, and so they prefer much drier climates. So they don't like to be watered as much. They don't like sitting in water. The roots will rot very easily if they are waterlogged. So make sure that you keep them on the drier side. They can be easily grown from a leaf or from a cutting. If you grow it from a stem cutting, make sure that you don't water it for a couple of months, and it will develop its own root system. They usually root very easily. In Africa, they are a favorite food of elephants. These trees only grow indoors in temperate climates. Outdoors they will suffer and die, especially if it gets frosty. And if you grow them indoors, make sure you give them plenty of light. Grow them in a light position right next to a southern facing window or in a conservatory. These trees are very easy to grow. They will be really good lifetime companions, and they will give you a lot of little babies that you can give away to your friends and family. This is Podocarpus macrophyllus, and it is known as Buddhist pine because it is commonly grown in Japanese Buddhist temples. It is, unlike the other tropical trees, it is a conifer, and it's one of the very few conifers that can take a considerable amount of heat. It is a beautiful tree that indoors will require a lot of light. Since it's a conifer, it doesn't produce flowers, but it does produce lovely little berries that eventually will turn red, and the tree looks really beautiful with these berries. They really aren't berries, they are pseudocones. Grow Podocarpuses in humidity trays in a bright position, and don't overfeed, as the leaves will start growing bigger and bigger. This is Carmona microphylla, and it is a very finicky tree. It's native to Southeast Asia, southern China, and India, and it needs a lot of moisture to grow, but also it doesn't like to be waterlogged. The roots rot very easily. That's what makes it so finicky. So do grow it in a very well drained soil. It's a lovely tree. Otherwise, it's got these beautiful white trumpet shaped 5-petaled flowers, and it's an attractive tree. Just make sure to keep it well moist but not waterlogged. This is Ligustrum sinensis, and it's a tree that is native to South China, Japan, and Southeast Asia. It grows in the warmer, more humid parts of the world. So it does like to be in the light and humid position indoors as well. It can tolerate a little bit of dryness, but the leaves will brown and fall, so it's best to keep it moist at all times. It is a very resilient tree, so it will bounce back, but you will lose the vigor and this year's growth. So do make sure you keep it moist and keep it in a bright position. This is a dwarf pomegranate, Punica granatum nana, and it's a tree that is native to the foothills of Himalayas in India, and it usually grows to 1 meter tall. It's a shrub that grows in well-draining soil, but it does love moisture and humidity, so grow it in a bright, humid, in a bright, humid environment indoors, and keep it on the drier side to encourage the fruit and the flowers. These are beautiful. It does have these beautiful red flowers forming in mid-summer that will eventually form into fruit. As Punica granatum grows in the countries that have a monsoon season, it does like to have a lot of water and feeding during the time when it's flowering or forming fruit. However, if you want the fruit to ripen, you need to start watering it less, and make sure that you keep it in a bright position and enjoy this beautifully flowering bonsai tree. Other tropical species to consider that we have grown here at Maki Bonsai are the following. Camellia sinensis, or camellia, is native to India and Far East. Also, Ficus benjamina is a very common house plant and can be found in most nurseries. You can easily buy it anywhere, really, and it's common to also India and Far East, and it's loved for its dark green foliage with a waxy coating. Another ficus that can be grown as bonsai is Ficus elastica, also native to India and known as Indian rubber tree. It's also found in anywhere else in Far East with monsoon seasons. It is a different ficus altogether. It's got large, thick, waxy, dark green leaves, almost black, and that's what it's loved for. It's a different bonsai. It's got coarse branching and large leaves. And yet another ficus is a Ficus rubiginosa. It's a Port Jackson ficus, and this one is native to Australia. Its characteristic is dark green to maroon colored leaves, and it also grows well as a medium to large bonsai. So next one on the list is Plumeria obtusa, also commonly known as Frangipani, a tree that is common in Mediterranean countries, in warmer climates, and in Southeast Asia. It's got beautiful flowers that range in color from white to pink. Very, very beautiful, loved for the flowers. The next one is Gardenia. The next species is Gardenia jasminoides, and it's native to Japan and Far East. It loves high humidity, so it grows well in humid, light conditions. It's got beautiful, fragrant, small white flowers, and is used in India for the weddings and during some temple ceremonies. Another tree to consider is Sageretia theezan, is Chinese sweet plum. It's native to southern China and Korea, and is known for its lemon green color of its young foliage. Another one to consider is Serissa foetida. It's commonly known as the tree of thousand stars. native to Japan and Korea. Flowers profusely with beautiful white flowers all the way through summer until October. But it requires a lot of heat, a lot of light, and a lot of humidity, which makes it a difficult bonsai species to grow indoors. And unfortunately, it cannot be grown outdoors in temperate climates. And lastly, Xanthosxylum bichianum, also known as Chinese pepper. It is native to southern China, Korea, and Japan. And its foliage has this lemony fragrance when you rub it with your fingers. It produces small, inconspicuous white yellowish flowers followed by small black peppers, which are used in Chinese cuisine. So these are some of the tropical species that you can grow as bonsai indoors. This is by no means an exhaustive list, and you can do your own research or to find out any other species that can be happy to be your indoor bonsai. Some of these trees you can buy in your local nursery because they are common house plants like Ficus elastica, or for example this Ficus benjamina that I just got in the local nursery. They're widely available and easy to get hold of and will make very easy bonsai. I hope you enjoyed this introduction to tropical bonsai. The best thing about tropical trees is that you can grow them indoors. They can be challenging at times, but they make for great bonsai. And the best thing is that you don't need a garden to grow your bonsai trees. So this is Dasha at Maki Bonsai signing out for now, and I hope you enjoyed, and you can find more information about the species below in the description, as well as links to more detailed tutorials on specific species and tropical bonsai at Maki Bonsai. I hope to see you again, and
what the hell are we doing? Tropical bonsais, take 1.
Hello. Start again. Okay. If you need okay. So. Okay. I don't need to explain. I guess.
Everything.
And just like the okay.